right into game number 1, which is going to be Arya versus Hirmu.
Okay.
All right, on Fighting Spirit.
And I'm pretty sure everyone watching knows about Fighting Spirit, but we've got a 4-player map with Arya, EMG spawning in the top right, and Hirmu in the brown Zerg spawning in the top left.
Gonna be a TVZ on this map, and like you said, Fighting Spirit, one of the most played maps on the pool, and definitely a beginner build friendly map. So both these players starting off in an equal, comfortable environment. I've seen actually a decent amount of these players. Hirmu, it's been a little bit. Arya, I've seen him play a lot of different leagues. He's of course part of the East Manor Gaming clan, so those guys practice really hard and they're solid players. They know their builds and they execute really well.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play. I guess it's Arya, so I haven't seen him play, but I've seen people actually talking about him before, and it seems like people have a pretty high regard for his skill.
Yeah, he plays really cleanly. Now, TVZ is actually my favorite matchup. Do you feel the same way, Avin, or?
No, personally, I like watching really good Protoss versus Zerg. I find it. I don't know. I think it takes a lot of really good execution to pull off for the Protoss, and the Zerg. You can just get it. I like the Star on Zerg style, where you have the Zerg flowing all over the map.
Definitely.
It's great to watch. But TVZ is the classic matchup of StarCraft, I'd say. It's kind of what you think of when you think of StarCraft.
Yeah, TVZ and PVZ are one of those matchups as well that have changed so much over the history of Brood War. It's kind of interesting, looking at some of the history of the matchups, like watching some games from 6-7 years ago. It's a totally different matchup. Same with PVZ, honestly. And the kind of meta that we're seeing right now wasn't always the case. It's an interesting thing to look back on.
It is. It really has evolved post-Kespa even quite a bit. And we had successful scouts for both players. We've got a 1 barrack expand for Arya, pretty standard, and just a patch first for Herman into a pool. So pretty standard here.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Like you said, just normal builds here. Who we see kind of break out of this mold and take the first step. Going to be 3-hatch for Hirmu now. And Arya's, SCV still alive. There are no lings produced as of yet, though they are morphing right now. So that scouting SCV, how long we'll be able to stay alive is interesting. That's some quite valuable intel for the Terran.
Gas just coming up for Herman. So, yeah, like you said, 3-hatch play. Once again, nothing too crazy. Second barracks coming up for Arya and the gas. Scouting Overlord. First scouting Overlord was going south, so that's not in a position where you can see anything. But the second one is right over the natural. Couple, 2 Zerglings out? I don't see the second one. Oh yeah, there you go.
The 1 Zergling was a scout at the base, and we've already have 5 Marines produced, and it's a second rack's up now.
And an
Academy. So Arya gonna go with some bio play. Seen him play bio decent amount in the past. He is really good with it. And Hirmu scouting, seeing the number of Marines be a little bit of a tell here.
And Arya has seen the lair coming up for Hirmu. He just saw the timing of it with SCV, which is still alive.
Yeah, that's the value of that scouting SCV with Arya. Good players keep them alive and can see things that allow them to not waste scans later on at this phase in the game when they're so important. Stim being researched for Arya here, and speed also almost done for Hirmu. So, pretty much a quite normal 3-hatch opening for Hirmu. Spire
So
just started.
Hirmu was able to pick off the scouting SCV. Actually, when it returned to mine, but he picked it off, so he got a SCV kill. We've got the Spire coming up, which I figured it would be a Spire because we saw the second gas come up pretty early. And we've got the 8 Marines pushing out a little bit with the 2 medics. This should be some Sunkens coming up he's going to need.
Yeah, the creep colony is actually a little bit late here. This is looking a little bit scary. Might get something done, and now it looks like...
We do have link speed. We do have link speed coming up.
Link speed, but
finish.
There's not a ton with Stim. The
Yeah,
Stim
and
in
we've
his...
got... Yeah, okay. Well, he's able to push back for a second. Drone goes down. And the Sunken does one. But he's doing a good job picking off all the links.
Stimming forward again and gonna get the Sunken here and gonna force a drone pull, so already he's got some economic damage done and is gonna start chipping away at the hatchery. There are some more lings gonna pop here and will likely push this back, but it is a little bit of a mining delay.
Oh, he's done a really good job picking off all of the Zerglings. Actually, not running them all in at the same time is really hurting him, right? He's running about 4 separate groups of Zerglings instead of all of them at once. So, lost 4 Zerglings than he should. But, Arya has kept all of his... He's not sending any reinforcement with this.
Yeah, this is actually quite insane. This hatchery is getting pretty low, even though there's only 2 Marines. There's 2 mutas out. They need to get over there now. The 3rd muta popped. Now looks like... Will Hirmu go? There's...
You've got the factory and now the starport up in Arya's base. So he is teching up pretty quickly.
Oh my goodness, we lost the hatchery.
Oh, he pulls it off. Oh man, this is a really rough position for him. And now Arya's already has the factory up with the machine shop building and the starport. And he's got 3 racks building a bunch of Marines. So there's not that much potential for... These mutas will have to do a lot of damage. But there's a lot of Marines sitting right here. And turrets. So...
Honestly, that was quite foolish from Hirmu. He could have gone in and taken 3 mutas to 2 Marines. The trade, as long as you micro the mutas well, and there was no reason to lose the hatchery, really. And now, getting a little bit of economic harass is nice, but honestly, losing the hatch at that stage of the game is just unwarranted.
Yeah, that's really rough. And we don't even really have a... He's not going to be able to expand to a 3rd base anytime soon without no Hydralisk done up. And Starport is up and a science facility building, so we're going to have possibly science vessels out soon.
Yeah, nice timing for science vessels as well. Not a, nice timing from Arya. He's just really defending this muta push really well. Lost a few SCVs, but he's managed to pick off quite a few mutas, and a few SCVs, 4 mutas is a trade he will take all day. And those mutas are, quite a few of them are very low. He needs to be careful here, Hirmu, and not just throw them at the missile turrets for no gain.
And we've still got some of the drones. The hatchery just finishes at the natural rebuilding. Some of the drones are still long distance mining to the 3rd hatch. But we've got the siege tank out. So not even a Sunken at the natural. 3rd base is actually building, but the Hydralisk gun is up, but I'm not sure if it's finished with the aspect.
Yeah,
another Mutalisk lost.
Lost quite a few Mutalisks and hasn't thinned the bio ball that much. He has some lings out here on the map and is hoping to try to get a good angle when this bio ball pushes out, but honestly, this is quite strong, quite a healthy number of medics. +1 is done as well, and a good engagement for Arya will mean he will be able to fight this Zerg army head on.
And we also have +1 These Marines are +1. They're going against 0/0 Zerglings with no upgrades, and we've got no upgrades yet for Mutalisks. So there is a significant upgrade advantage, and the first vessel's out for Arya, which is allows him to push. If there were lurkers on the map, he was being very safe, didn't want to move out without the vessel, but there are no lurkers on the map at the moment. Queen's Nest actually coming up for Hirmu, but he loses all the Zerglings.
Bleeding quite a few lings there, and honestly, this 2-tank science vessel force of Arya is not even going to check to see if there is a third. There's only one sunken here, and this will be an easy march-in for Arya, who put Hirmu at such a drastic deficit with the loss of that hatch. Really, I don't think there was any chance at all for him to come back from that.
Oh, he's trying to build sunkens now, but it's obviously too late. We've got sieged tanks ready to take him out, and this should be, this is the beginning of the end.
And the science
We've got them just trying to pick off what they can, but
the science vessel does have a radiate as well, and he's not really splitting the mutas. He lost a couple there. Unfortunate.
Oh man, yeah, that was a rough split. But, that's a hard thing to do. He does take out the vessel, but he's fighting with drones against Marine Medic, and that's a GG. So that was a very well played game by Arya. A very good 2 racks Academy push. Some impressive control.
That was a nice push out, and honestly, I think that Hirmu might have not noticed it, and
yeah, well, he did a really good job not allowing Hirmu to see that it was the 2x CAD build. I didn't see any scouting get in to see what the build was, and the Overlord was blocked off by Marines. So the lack of scouting information for Hirmu, and a good push with good control.
It looks like people in the chat are correcting my pronunciation of Arya. They're saying it's Arya. Okay, Arya. My bad, everybody. Not ranked. Into the next replay.
Was I saying it wrong? Or...
I think I was. He said Gorg, so that was my fault.
Okay. Yeah, I think the first time I said Arya because of the spelling. But here, I'll join as soon as you're in. I think the first time I said Arya because of the spelling, but as soon as you were saying Arya. Okay, so
he says Arya. Arya.
Oh, Arya. Okay.
Arya. Okay. Good to know. Art of Turtle EMG is a coach, I believe, and also from Eastmander Gaming. So cheering on his teammate here in the chat, and the man who is up 1-0. It is Arya for Eastmander Gaming as the Blue Terran on Neo
bottom left. Middle left, I guess. And then bottom-ish middle right, we've got Hirmu, the purple Zerg, who lost the first game. But there's that was a good push up by Arya. Nothing against Hirmu.
Oh, okay. Was not.
What were you saying?
Sorry, I was not totally sure of the map we were on for some second. I thought we were going on to Neo Aztec here, but I was confused.
Is this not? Oh wait, is this not Neo Aztec? I thought this is Aztec.
Wait, is this Aztec?
Here, let me see. No.
Oh, this is Aztec. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, because I've seen the low ground meme. Not, it's early game. There's not much to talk about at this point of the game. But I think a key factor in the last game that we touched on was the scouting information. The difference in the quality of the scouting information for the two sides allowed the 2 Rexicad to go undetected, and that early push to be so devastating. So I think we should. I'll definitely be watching the scouting information that each side gets. early on in this game.
Yeah,
We've got,
I don't remember. Did Hirmu actually fully see that 2 racks?
I don't think he did, because a couple Marines came out, and the scout was pushed back, and there was only one Zergling sent out as a later scout. He just saw a bunch of Marines. He could have if he saw the Marine total, he could have known, but he never scouted the second racks, I don't think.
Yeah, so now Hirmu is sending his drone in, and hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more knowledge. So hopefully he will be able to scout adequately for this game. But like you're saying, this is true. Seeing the 6 Marine total should tip you off a little bit that probably isn't just a strict 1 racks play. I don't know, it's a little bit hard to say. But the SCV going up to start the command center on the high ground here.
Yeah, once again, we've got same builds as last game, and roughly same timings. 3 racks, 3 hatch, with the pool in between the second and third hatch, and we've got the 1 racks expand for Arya.
Arya. It's taking me a little bit to get out of my brain. Arya. Yep. And the second racks has started, so it's going to be a 2 racks again for Arya.
And we've got Arya with the SCV in the main again, but we actually have, we've got 1 Zergling going after him, and 1 Zergling, it looks like, will go to sit in front of the natural again. Seems like that's what he likes to do. He likes to have 1 Zergling sit in front. Probably in front of these Marines. He's probably gonna, it's probably very important to him that he scouts the early Marine count. Yeah,
the Ling of Hirmu actually killed the SCV, scouting of the SCV, so the SCV did not see the timing of the lair, although I'm thinking that Arya will assume it here and should be prepared for the 3 hatch play. He did see the 3 hatch, so can only assume that the lair is coming. And the Ling did not scout the total amount of SCVs, and we'll see if Hirmu can get enough Sunkens up to defend this. There, the Ling just saw him there. Ooh,
okay. So we've got the 1 Zergling in. The Zergling's taken out. Yeah, we've got the Academy coming up again. Pumping Marines off 2 racks, but we have the SCV coming in, and he does see the lair before it finishes.
The Ling was positioned to try to stop the SCV right on that little sweet spot on the bridge, but he did not make it. I think it's a little bit more complicated going downhill, as far as instead of going uphill to block things on those ramps. Did not quite make it, but honestly not much of a tell the lair. And Spire coming up at a pretty good time. And Force
Academy is finished for Arya.
Yeah, so exactly the same as last game. And Hirmu, honestly, at this point, he saw the amount of Marines, so I'm a little bit worried that he's not getting just 1 Sunken. 1 Sunken is pretty standard for defense at this point in the game.
Yeah, this is a lot of Marines to be building. He's got to know that when you're building this amount of Marines early, that you're likely... that a lot of Zerglings being made as well. If you look in the natural, there's a lot of Zerglings, and there's a lot of Zerglings out on the map. So,
I think he's...
it'll be interesting to see what he's trying to do.
I think he's hoping to, thank you, Snipe, for catching the replay bar. And I think Hirmu is trying to just catch him out with an offensive Ling push here, and actually might be able to dive in here, not engaging his 2 groups of Lings. He might be able to pick off some of the medics or groups at the back if he's careful there. Ling's coming in, might get some of the medics there, might get one of the medics, getting a surround, picking off some Marines, although quite a few are still up, and there are no Sunkens at all. We might see a quick repeat of game 1 here if Hirmu isn't careful. There's 3 Sunkens going down at the same time.
Yeah, we've still got 10 Marines left after losing all those Zerglings. A couple of them are damaged, but there's no Sunken that's actually up. There's no Sunken that's actually filmed yet. So, this should be might be a pretty straightforward game. We do have the mutas out. That's 9 mutas coming out right now. He could, 9 mutas have a lot of potential if micro correctly. So we'll see.
Yeah, he can't.
This is not something that he had last game. When the natural was taken out, he did not have 9 mutas out. So that is one thing that's a major improvement.
Yeah, Hirmu.
He's gonna take this out. That was pretty dangerous, though.
He is being smart, though. He's not just blindly moving with his mutas, microing very well, and kept, I think, all but one of his mutas alive. Maybe didn't even lose one. And now he has this Nat. So this game is looking a lot different from the first, and I think Hirmu's actually in a decent position defending that. Only lost 2 Sunkens. I believe the other one was cancelled. So not much of a net loss for Hirmu, and Arya did lose a lot of that bio, although his bio reproduction has been pretty on point. Meanwhile, the Mutas getting into the line.
Oh, only one turret at the top of the main, but the Marines will push it back. Yeah, I'd say the only thing was that the Zerglin attack. Okay, he does have a Zerglin attack at the front. This is actually pretty good, but he's gonna pull back.
Nice use of the Lings there to get one of the turrets, and might dive in on the other one, get an opening to do some serious economic harass. The bio of Arya having to defend 2 places at once is getting a little bit crazy. He's diving in on some of these Marines that are not protected by the medics, so quite a good attack from Hirmu so far.
But we do just have 2. Oh wait, there's a drone being sent out for the 3rd base. I would say the only thing about the opening from Hirmu is that he built a lot of Zerglings that did not do that much, and I think his early drone count was a little low because of that. But I'd say, obviously, he did a much better position in the last game when he lost the natural. Taking off these siege tanks is very important to stopping any sort of...
Yeah, losing 2 tanks like that is huge. Very nicely done from Hirmu, and his mutas have gotten a ton of utilities. He's produced a few more at home, and a full ball of mutas have done so much. He's honestly going to keep Arya penned in for so long. He's going to be able to expand and do quite well. The bio ball is pushing out, but it's still taking losses from this mutaball. And the 3rd is up from Hirmu as well, taking a far expansion.
And a much slower, there's not even a, there's no starport being built at all, which was one of the, I think that's one of the reasons he was able, Arya was able to close out the game so well last time, was his very quick science push.
When a 3rd tank is going to fall, that's absolutely huge. He might even go for the siege upgrade and get a 4th tank there. It's waiting. And meanwhile, it looks like Arya is just going to try to maybe push out with bio and see what he can do anyways. He has some Lings at home.
But we do have lurkers building. So, there are no Sunkens though. So he was trying to do a little push. I think he's going to... He just scanned, but it was a scan that missed the base to the left. So he hasn't actually seen the base. He scanned to the left, but I think that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to scan that base and then potentially go over there and take out the 3rd base.
Starport just now up, and there's quite a big ball.
Try to get.
Ooh, are these lurkers in hold position? Oh my goodness, nice trap.
That's a very nice trap. Very well done. He picks off 1 medic, that's very important.
Beautifully done by Hirmu there.
And we've got the hive mutating. We've got nothing building at the 3rd base is up for Hirmu, but nothing building so far. And he's going to try to push out and get these 6 Marines. He should be able to do this. There you go. Well done. Yes, this game is taking a. It started off almost exactly the same, but it is taking a very different course than the last one. We do have a starport built at the front, with the control tower coming up, and a science facility. 5 racks. So we're looking at a pure well, it's not a pure SK because we do have siege tanks, but I think really crucial is picking off those siege tanks, because any sort of early push
He gets one lurker, but he loses all his medics, and he's pushing forward with the lurkers here. He's going to burrow, although not the best position for the lurkers. They are going to get all killed by the tanks, most likely. Although the mutas are going to reign free, there's very few Marines left at all. Honestly, he can A-move into this Terran army.
Well, just picking all of that off while he is in his hive and able to get his third base, I think Hirmu is probably fine with that. Also, yeah, because Arya is the one who needs to, or wanted to push and try to, you know, possibly destroy a third base or something like that with that army. But taking that out and resetting the unit count means that it's going to be a while before Arya is able to push out. Even though Hirmu didn't exactly trade efficiently there.
Yeah, that as well as the probably up to 5-6 tanks that he's picked off already. Kind of the main force that Terran has against lurkers is really weak to lurkers right now because Science Vessel just now coming out. He has to waste scans. He only has so many scans and doesn't have quite enough tanks.
He built dropship before. This could be a possible way to get back into the game for Arya.
The dropship is interesting.
Yeah, it's heading up to the third base. This could be a very you know the Nidus up. The Nidus is forming into the natural, but it's not up yet. So this should be able to get there. The drones are already pulled.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking could get done, because but with the mutas and the zerglings, this doesn't look like a good idea. But the drones are pulled so quickly, a good reaction from Hirmu.
The problem with that is that Arya saw that the Overlord had vision of the drop moving out. He decided to go with it anyways, and Hirmu had tons of time to react there and clean that up. And I don't really like that decision from him to get a dropship first. You know, it can be a good tool, but it seems it's a bit risky. And honestly, getting the science vessels up are a bit more of a priority.
And we've got Consume researching at the Defiler Land right now for Hirmu, so that's going to be very important. The Greater Spire is actually up.
And there's Guardians morphing outside of the Nat here. This is a very interesting play from Hirmu. There's quite a bit of... There's 4 Scourge out already. This could catch...
There's a lot of army out on the map for Arya, and he's got the third base landing. There is not going to be anything that can stop this. These Guardians, with Scourge, possibly taking out the... He's going to take out the gas first. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting.
This might...
Like he's proceeding with the push, though, up to the third base. With a science vessel and 4 tanks, if those are sieged and used correctly, he can do something.
Oh, charging right into the hold position lurkers. Not hold.
That hurts.
GG is called. And looks like Arya, the Guardian switch, caught him off guard. And now will fall. Some nice lurker control by Hirmu with the Nidus. Would have been able to hold that most likely. Very well played from Hirmu. Great control of the mutas.
That was a very good response. It was looking like a very similar game, but the key there was the 9 mutas coming out, popping right at that moment, able to defend the natural, as opposed to the 2 the game before, which allowed him to kill the natural.
Alright, so gonna go into the game 3. Of course, all these matches in CPL are best of 3s, and we're gonna be going on to match point.
Okay, I'm out joining up. Okay.
So match point is very interesting, a lot smaller 2-player map, and it's quite interesting for a TVZ. I haven't seen a ton of TVZs on it lately.
Yeah, most TVZs that I had seen on this, it seems like Muta is 2-hatch Muta seems like a strong build on this, so we could see something different like that. For Terran, maybe tech openings, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I guess we didn't even mention much about the last map was Aztec. It was a pretty standard. Well, it's not the most standard 3-player map, but it had a low ground main. But Yeah, match point is definitely a bit different with the fact you know exactly where your opponent spawns. So if you really want to figure out what they're doing, you know where to scout. And the close third base doesn't have a gas. So likely for the third base, the Zerg is going to take the top left, which, if you get lurkers on the ramp, can be easy to hold. But that should be interesting.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right with Terran wanting to go for the tech opening. I have seen drops being used a lot because of the far expanding pattern of the Zerg. It can spread the Zerg out a little bit early. But I guess we didn't even introduce the players for the last time. In the top corner here, the Teal Terran. For EMG, it's Arya. Arya.
Yeah. And in the bottom left, we've got Hirmu, the purple Zerg, who last game had very good Mutalisk, or pretty good Mutalisk control to save his second hatchery and reverse the tide of the game. It really felt early that it was going to be a very similar game, but he was able to turn it around.
Yeah, he likes playing on the edge. He doesn't like getting a lot of sunkens, which, means
Can be risky.
It's risky, but it allows him to get a really high muta count, and he's very comfortable with using mutas. So I guess it's a play style where it's a risk, that he has to calculate into his build, and he's 1 for 1 so far.
And we actually do have 2 hatch play coming out of him at the moment, because he did build the. Well, we'll see if he goes for the 3rd hatch, but we've got the 1 Rax expand again, and no gas so far for Arya, so it's not looking exactly like a tech opening so far. It might be a standard play.
Yeah, hard to say so far, and
we do have two. It is going to be 2 hatch play because we do have the layer coming up already.
Yeah, 2 racks just put down Arya, so just making sure I say that right. The 2 racks, very comfortable with that. There is an Overlord going to be floating in. Might try to poke in and see that. We'll see. And yeah, like you said, 2 hatch play for Hirmu.
So I think the strength of the 2 hatch play is the ability to attack the, well, of course, the overhanging natural. You can hide in this area with your mutas and come down and pick off SCVs over and over again. But then also you can dive right into the main and pick off anything that is exposed. So I think that's why there's such a heavy use of 2 hatch muta on this map. But yeah, like we said before, this is pretty standard. It is. Standard for Arya. We've got the 2 Rax Academy build coming at him for the 3rd game.
Yeah, Hirmu sending his drone up, likely to take a 3rd now, and Hirmu did see the Marine count, so he should know and have a pretty good idea that this is a 2 Rax, and getting his creep colony, looks like he's learned his lesson a little bit. Getting that creep colony, at least 1, is a nice conservative play here.
And it looks like... Did something happen to the drone? Oh, he's going for a very close... Whoa, this is an interesting expansion to go for.
Yeah, this is a nice ninja base, though, because it's match point...
So close.
Yeah, you don't think about that base a lot, and then with lurkers, you can get that funnel there. Can just be a nightmare to push into.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The only thing really you can do against that is vessel or tanks with siege. Marines are not gonna. If you're taking this as your 3rd, you're not gonna be able to push into it if there are lurkers in the chokes. So, but we do have the SCV comes in, but is killed by the sunken, so he doesn't know what's going on in the main. The Spire will be finishing soon, and we've got 3rd Rax coming up.
We've got
There's the
bio
scan
push
of the
out.
main. Scan of the main. So he sees the Spire, he sees it's finished. so he knows the mutas are coming, or likely building. So he's constructing turrets right now.
And there's four creep colonies up right now. They're going to be turned into sunkens, and they will all morph before Arya is able to get his bio over there. He's got a few mutas out already, so it looks like Hirmu should be just fine in this defense.
Yes, a much less risk involved with this sort of play compared to the first two, where he really tried to skimp on sunkens, which of course does affect your the economy quite a bit if you're building a bunch of sunkens. But I don't think there will be much done by Arya here against 4 sunkens.
Arya scanned and he saw that there was no third, so this might tip him off a little bit. He might start getting a little bit curious, and then meanwhile, Hirmu's mutas are dodging in, going to take out one turret. A few are weakened already, and there's quite a few turrets for Arya. He's not skimping on the turret, so this is... I don't know if there's a lot that Hirmu's going to be able to get done with these mutas.
Hirmu actually knows the location of the... okay, it just moved out of his vision, but he knew for almost all of that time the location of Arya's bioforce that was on his side of the map. So that was something he knew the location of the entire army because of an overlord scout. We've got the Queen's Nest coming out.
I think I can barely hear you, Avin. Can you turn your sound up a little bit?
So, we do have him droning up his third. Got the mutas diving in. No turrets right next to the barracks, so he's actually pick off 1 or 2 marines. And dive right in. There's no turrets behind the minerals, which is a place I often see turrets placed.
Yeah, Muta's still trying to get a little bit. They're getting a SAV here who loses a Muta though. And his best bet is actually probably to try to chip away at the bio ball instead of the main or that.
This is a very interesting place to put your starport. When the SCV is picked off main, if you're able to delay this is really going to delay this. Or possible dropship, since you've noted that there's a lot of dropship play on this map.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. I think Arya likes to use the starport to block because the starport is so big, but that's extremely aggressive placement there, and Arya with this bio ball across the map is not going to be able to get a lot done at all with this 5 sunken line here.
And still no, he scans the top left again. He has absolutely no idea of its third base.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be a process of elimination at some point for Arya. He knows, he's got to know there's going to be a third.
It might be more likely that he thinks some... Oh, he already has scanned the bottom left, hasn't he? So, I think he's... There's a lot of mutas coming out here.
Yeah, this is a lot of mutas, and... Yeah,
there's actually no defense in the third base. If Arya were to attack, there's almost nothing that... He would have to use the mutas exclusively to defend against the bio. He's actually building 2 more creep colonies at the front of his natural, for a total of 7.
Alright, I'm gonna kill the music. There we go. Because I can't hear you really, and I don't want that to drown you out.
Got it. Yeah, I've had the music off for a little bit. So we've got a second group of Marines pushing out with 2 tanks. The mutas are in the main, killing off the turrets.
Yeah, these mutas surprisingly have gotten tons done. The bio of Arya just doesn't want to defend with that, and he's just kind of pushing across the map, even though looks like he's going to try for a bust on this nat, and there's a ton of mutas.
Greater Spire just finished. And we've got 8 mutas in the natural. There's no lurkers.
This is pretty
Arya
insane.
Has still not scouted the third base. I think he thinks this is a dedicated 2 base Muta commitment. He might not be as worried about this because he thinks that these mutas.
Yeah,
He thinks that he's completely committing to mutas.
there's 4 Guardians as well. This is a nice transition here to deal with those tanks. And so basically, Arya just sacrificed so much of his economy there to try to get this push out to work.
Guardians are finished. The Guardians have morphed, and there's 4 Sunkens. They should be able to push this back.
Yeah, pushing into that many Sunkens was a total of 7 Sunkens up at the same time. And meanwhile, the mutas from the main are returning, and they're going to sack this.
Perfect Guardian timing. That's why he was building those additional Sunkens. Only 1 Sunken remains. If he had not built those 2 additional Sunkens, the Sunkens likely would have been gone by the time the Guardians had morphed. So very good timing. And the closeness of this 3rd base actually allows him to build Mutalisks. He could build Mutalisks and morph them to Guardians and fly them right to the Terran base.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. This is kind of weird. Arya, with his army's been a little bit indecisive, hasn't really defended, and that main bust hasn't worked. This is probably just going to be an overwhelm from Hirmu, with the Guardians making their way across the map. He may even choose to morph some more. Meanwhile, Mutalisk getting even more economic damage. Even though there's tons of turrets, there's tons of mutas, and it doesn't really matter anyways. The Guardians are coming.
The only thing that's able to defend the turrets are not going to be able to defend against Guardians, and there's not enough Marines to do anything. So I think this is going to be game. Absolutely. I mean, Hirmu's doubling his supply.
Yeah, there's no sign of this vessel's out. That was super late.
Oh,
like
one vessel, but it doesn't have very much energy, and we've just got so many Guardians and mutas. And +1 attack. That's when you know that they're going aggressive with the muta and Guardian.
Yeah, this is pretty much over from Arya here. Well played, and we will see Hirmu go win it.
1-0 down to 2-1.
Yeah, after losing that game, and it looked like game 2 is dicey as well. Very kind of, yeah. He's really confident in his Skyzerg Muta Guardian play, and
it was noticeable that both of the 2 games he won, he teched 2 Guardians relatively early.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit surprised that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. I was just saying that there was no Defiler play throughout the entire series. His preferred late game was obviously the Muta Guardian sort of play.
Yeah, I think Guardians are really good, especially on those maps. Aztec and Matchpoint both have those wide spaces behind the naturals, making the Guardian switch really potent, and it kind of forced both those times for Arya to kind of go for an all-in base trade scenario like we saw that didn't work out, both in the games 2 and 3, and then Hirmu just wrapped it up after.